The audience at The View was buzzing with excitement as Meghan Markle was introduced as the guest of the day. Applause thundered through the studio, and Meghan walked out gracefully, dressed in a sleek blazer and calm smile. Initially, the conversation began on a positive note, with discussions about her philanthropic work and recent projects with Prince Harry. She spoke with poise, sharing insights about motherhood, social advocacy, and her work with mental health initiatives. The hosts nodded politely, asking soft questions and smiling for the cameras. But then, as the show transitioned into its Hot Topics segment, things quickly took a turn. Whoopi Goldberg brought up Meghan's relationship with the British media, to which Meghan responded with composed frustration, citing racism and manipulation. Sunny Hostin voiced support, but Joy Behar cut in with skepticism, challenging Meghan's interpretation of events, and the energy in the room immediately shifted. Joy Behar's tone grew sharper as she questioned whether Meghan truly understood the media landscape she had married into. She insinuated that Meghan should have expected harsh coverage as a public figure, royal or not. Meghan responded that criticism was one thing, but abuse veiled as journalism was another entirely. Sarah N. tried to mediate by pointing out the difference between fair reporting and bullying, but Joy didn't let up. She interrupted, suggesting that Meghan often plays the victim while enjoying privilege. Meghan's posture straightened, her smile gone. She clarified that her intention wasn't to appear as a victim, but to advocate for reform in the way women, especially women of color, are portrayed in media. The temperature rose with each passing second, and the once welcoming environment had turned adversarial. The live audience sensed the rising tension, and applause was replaced with hushed murmurs. Whoopi attempted to redirect, asking Meghan about her work with the Archewell Foundation. Meghan began to respond, but Joy again interjected, asking if the foundation's goals were more about public image than real impact. That was the final spark. Meghan looked directly at Joy and said, "It's disappointing to be invited to talk about real work, only to be undermined by insinuations and sarcasm." The audience reacted with a mix of gasps and claps. Meghan continued, saying she had faced enough invalidation from institutions. She didn't expect it from women who claimed to support empowerment. Sunny Hostin looked visibly uncomfortable and attempted to shift back to Meghan's mental health work, but it was too late. The clash had reached a boiling point. Joy leaned back in her chair with a half-smile, saying, "We ask real questions on this show. If you want a PR tour, go elsewhere." Meghan sat silently for a beat, then calmly said, "Maybe I will." Producers scrambled behind the scenes. Meghan's team, clearly unhappy, signaled to the floor manager. Whoopi tried to cool the situation, asking Meghan to continue discussing her work. But Meghan stood her ground and replied, "If I'm not here to be heard, I don't need to be here at all." The audience was stunned. Meghan glanced toward the backstage area, as if waiting for direction. A few seconds later, a staff member approached discreetly and whispered something in her ear. Meghan nodded, removed her mic calmly, and stood up. The hosts watched, speechless. Meghan turned to the audience, thanked them for their time, and walked off the stage. Some clapped, some were visibly confused. Joy looked around the table and said, "Well, that was unexpected," attempting to spin the moment. But no spin could soften the reality the clash was genuine and unplanned. The View went to commercial earlier than scheduled. When it returned, Meghan was gone. Whoopi addressed the situation briefly, saying, "Live television often leads to unfiltered moments and that the show respected Meghan's decision to leave." Joy didn't apologize, but said guests should expect tough questions. Sunny expressed regret that the discussion had derailed, reminding viewers that disagreement shouldn't erase respect. The rest of the show felt flat, as if the air had been sucked from the studio. The energy was gone. Viewers at home began posting clips online, and within minutes, #Meghan on The View began trending. Comments flooded in, some defending Meghan for standing up for herself, others claiming she overreacted to criticism, but no one could deny it. The clash had become a cultural moment. Social media exploded. Meghan's supporters praised her strength, pointing out how she had calmly handled confrontation with dignity. They argued that her treatment by Joy reflected a broader societal tendency to silence outspoken women, especially women of color. Critics, however, accused her of fleeing a fair interview and avoiding accountability. Headlines popped up across major news outlets, ranging from Meghan's storms off The View to Markle silenced on live TV. Pundits debated whether Joy's questioning was appropriate or antagonistic. Meanwhile, Meghan remained silent, no tweets, no statements. Her team released a single line hours later. Meghan appreciated the opportunity to speak, but values respectful dialogue. That sentence, brief and composed, added fuel to both sides of the argument. The next day, Meghan was spotted attending a charity event in New York. When asked about the incident by reporters, she simply replied, "I stand by what I said." Behind the scenes, sources close to Meghan revealed that she felt blindsided by the confrontational tone of the show. They insisted the producers had agreed to a discussion centered on her foundation and advocacy, not tabloid narratives. Meanwhile, insiders at The View claimed Meghan was overly sensitive and couldn't handle opposing views. Joy, for her part, joked about the incident in the following episode, saying, "I've scared away royalty now. What's next?" Her comment earned laughter from the audience, but many online viewed it as tone-deaf. The fracture between Meghan and the show was clear, and the damage wasn't going away anytime soon. Talk show analysts weighed in. Media experts highlighted how Meghan's exit revealed the growing disconnect between daytime TV formats and the expectations of high-profile guests. The View had built its brand on bold opinions and fiery exchanges, but Meghan's departure showed that not all guests are prepared to be fodder for combative entertainment. Others argued that Meghan should have stayed and debated her points. The debate went beyond television. It echoed broader conversations about public discourse, civility, and power dynamics. Should guests be expected to endure hostility under the guise of journalism? Should hosts be required to practice empathy, even when challenging someone's views? The incident wasn't just about Meghan and Joy. It was a mirror held up to modern media. A week later, Meghan broke her silence in a lengthy interview with a magazine. She didn't mention Joy by name, but spoke about her experience on the show. She said being invited to speak and then immediately having your voice questioned. It feels like a trap, not a dialogue. She emphasized the importance of protecting one's peace, even when others mistake that for weakness. She reiterated her commitment to her causes and said she'd never apologize for choosing dignity over performance. Her words struck a chord with many, while her critics claimed it was another example of her refusing to engage in difficult conversations. Nonetheless, Meghan's interview shifted the narrative from drama to reflection, allowing her to reframe the moment on her terms. Looking back, Meghan Markle's clash on The View wasn't just another talk show disagreement. It became a cultural flashpoint. It forced audiences to examine how women in power are treated when they speak up, how media uses conflict for ratings, and how quickly respect can evaporate under studio lights. Whether one sees Meghan as strong or sensitive, principled or performative, one thing is undeniable: she refuses to be silenced. Her decision to walk away wasn't weakness. It was a statement. In a world that often applauds confrontation but rarely honors grace, Meghan chose the latter. And sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do in a fiery clash isn't shout louder, it's stand up. Walk away and let your silence speak volumes.